My name is Rodrigo Reynoso, private sector, and I'm going to tell you a story. The very first important thing right now is that if this is your first time in Mexico, let's go and visit Oaxaca. This is the most important part of the presentation right now, okay? It's really a world city, and you have to go there. Really nice. Now, the story. To be quite pragmatic, it's how private sector and public sector make synergies in order to transfer risk to international markets, natural disaster catastrophes. It's a successful story. This is the first one given a strategy with the federal government that we have in history in Mexico. Figures only to know. $8 billion losses of state governments, subnational entities. The traditional risk approach has been, I don't have money, federal government, help me. Federal government can help up to 50% of losses. But the states have the money, most of the times they don't. So, federal government implement a strategy called EGIR, by signing and meaning in Spanish. In order to build up a strategy, I find out how much assets inventory I have, what's the risk of these assets, and how do I have to transfer that risk to overseas. Mexico's main risk, water, hydrometeorological, hurricane, severe rain, flooding, pretty much. 90% of risk. The strategy called EGIR, it's based on budget constraints. How much money does the state can put in the box? Given that, we buy an insurance with a premium and deductibles. And given that strategy, we transfer the risk overseas. In theory, it's really nice, but making the whole history took us 2 to 3 years. How does this strategy works? 3 phases. The first one, it's inventory. And it's not only a GPS location. This is most of the mistakes, most common mistakes that we already have in this industry. The most important part is the structural features and the reconstruction value. If you would like to transfer some risk, you have to know what do you have to transfer. But pretty much, when we have these experiences in the past, we arrive to international markets, and let's see, I don't want to insure the state of Oaxaca. Okay, what's your assets inventory? I don't know. Probably 1,000 kilometers linear pavement, constructions, and roads. Information is power in this industry. If not, they will charge you a lot because of uncertainty. What we do have to have here is to decrease uncertainty a lot. And let's see what's the real value of the risk of the state. So pretty much with location, features, reconstruction value, and loss record. It's not a census. There is a lot of technology right now. Satellite photographies, images. Believe me or not, most of the states, they already have a lot of information, but it's already dispersed. The second one is a risk measurement. Here we have some alliances with international agencies. There are not a lot in the world, and some domestic also, in order to measure the risk. And the risk, earthquake, flooding, rain, every risk, and the vulnerability of the inventory to each risk. If I have a hospital and I have a 5-degree earthquake, how much damage it will have? If I have a 6-degree earthquake, how much damage it will have the same value? If I have an 8-degree earthquake, how much damage it will have? And you have to run all the scenarios here in order to provide this information to international markets also. Now you have the inventory and you have the risk of that inventory common. the whole state. You know where is that, and you have the features of that one. And the final one is the risk transfer schemes. And here's a little bit of background also, because in Mexico, we already have like 7, 8 years that the federal government has been implemented this type of insurance for its own purposes and for its own resources. But the state governments never have done that, given a strategy of that one. You may know that the topic, and you say, well, I know that some of the states have bought some insurance in the past. Yes, you're right. But they don't have this strategy implemented also by the government. So in that risk transfer strategies is exposure and risk analysis. What's the insurable risk? Probably I'm in a state where there is no earthquake risk. So yes, it will be covered in my policy, but the value will be zero. You have to know that, and you have to know where is that. The sensibility of insurance and reinsurance industry, and finally the wording, quite important, quite aligned with operational guidelines. Now figures. What's the case of Oaxaca? Oaxaca have been bought some policies in the past, and after they decided to do the EGIR strategy, they bought some insurance policies without no much information, solid information. After they finished the EGIR strategy, they bought a policy with a discount of 50%. Once you know the information of the state and how much risk do you have, it's quite easy to go to the market and buy what do you have and what do you want. That's pretty much. Let me emphasize that stuff. Pretty much what we have in the rectangles here is the structure of the policy. No time for a lot of details. I can explain to you by one if you want it. We have 2 types of deductibles here, and we have a cat insurance. In terms of insurance, rate line of 9%, it's quite low also for a state, given you already have the information of that one. And there is a wide one up there. It's 2,000 million pesos with a probability of 1%. That means that you already have some risk with probability of 1%. Do you want to buy an insurance for that one? Or do you keep the money also for you? That's part of the analysis of the third phase also. Oaxaca was the first state to finish the strategy and to put and to place the risk in the market. A year after, 2 more states, Colima and Hidalgo, joined, and what had happened is that they make a pool. So there is a subnational pool when each state has its own policy, their own risk, but they came together and they already have a discount, another discount because they were stronger doing 3. What's the strategy in the long run? They're still in early stages in Mexico for the EGIR strategy, for the EGIR implementations. But there are 32 entities. We already have 3 finished. There are another 3 states that they are in the short term to begin the project. And there are another 20 plus. So probably in the next 10 years, 12 years, the whole country could have a national, subnational insurance. It's going to be another strategy. It's going to be more financial. But we already make the first steps here. So pretty much we have different deductibles and insurance sums. Now, the big picture for private and public sector. It has been always a taboo. I don't know why. But it's like a Chinese wall between the effort sometimes of the public sector and the private one. As I told you 1 minute before, the risk management strategies is in early stages here. But how do we put it in one slide? Let me go to the circles. The inner circle is the Ministry of Finance, Risk Financial Management. That ministry has to help the subnational entities with estimated risk, deductible risk transference mitigation. How to help them? With supervision, with knowledge. All has to be implemented by the state or by the private sector, but they have to go to do the checklist and see that they are accordingly with international standards. The outer circle is risk management, Ministry of Interior, assistance, prevention, reconstruction. So it's like we are doing right now, step by step. The EGIR strategy was made of to transfer risk. It's more a financial instrument. But we do have to know the inventory and the risk measurement also. So that means that you can collaborate together, especially with the Department of Public Safety. There are pretty much all the states here represented in this event. Private sector so far with support, technology, and innovation. As I told you, it's not a matter of doing a census. It's a matter to improve and to use technologies right now. So with this strategy, how Mexico will become a pioneer in the next forthcoming years, I'm pretty sure it will change a lot. The federal policy has been quite successful, and right now they're making a lot of noise with the state one. So this is the story behind how they build up the strategy and how they transfer risk. It's going to be new governments, it's going to be more technology, and this stuff has to be evolving every day. But at least this is a successful one. It's already implemented, and it saved a lot of money also to the states. So far, during the last 2 years, we didn't have any losses. But as you know, we are right now in this global platform. We only need one hit, and it could be disastrous also. So we need to have sound balances, sound budgets, in order to be better off, and not to act improvisely only to emergencies. I don't know if there is one question. We already have 1 more minute. Otherwise, thank you very much for assistance. They're asking me right now the evolution and the integration between public and private sector here. Pretty much, and that's experience you already have as a private sector company. But innovation means the use of financial and risk measurement tools. Most of the people in government also know that stuff, but because of timing and because of the work, they don't use it. So it's trying to integrate right now what's happening in other markets to implement it here also. That's pretty much. Risk transfer schemes. That's correct. Thank you.